Occult secrets fueled one of the most dangerous regimes in history, and most people have never heard of them. Forget the war machines. These are the 7 occult obsessions that shaped the Third Reich from the shadows. Number 7. The Spear of Destiny. Adolf Hitler believed he was a man of destiny, and he had the relic to prove it. According to Christian legend, the Holy Lance was the weapon used by a Roman centurion to pierce the side of Jesus Christ. The legend was simple. Whoever possessed the spear was invincible in battle, but if they ever lost it, they would immediately die. Hitler had been obsessed with the spear since his days as a homeless artist in Vienna. Hours after German troops crossed the border into Austria in 1938, his first order was to secure the spear. He had it loaded onto an armored train and moved to a subterranean bunker in Nuremberg. For 7 years, he believed this rusted piece of metal was the source of his victories. But prophecies have a dark way of coming true. On April 30th, 1945, American forces captured the bunker and the spear. Less than 2 hours later, hundreds of miles away in a Berlin basement, Hitler took his own life. His invincibility vanished the moment the spear left his grip. Number 6. The Quest for the Holy Grail. To the rest of the world, the Grail was a Sunday school myth. To the SS, it was a weapon of mass destruction. Heinrich Himmler believed the Grail was a physical battery of supernatural energy. He believed its power could guarantee a 1,000-year reign. He didn't hire a soldier to find it. He hired a ghost hunter. Otto Rahn was a brilliant, eccentric historian and the real-life inspiration for Indiana Jones. He spent years exploring the labyrinth-like cave systems of southern France. He was convinced a medieval sect had hidden the cup to keep it out of the hands of the unworthy. The SS gave him unlimited funding and a blank check for dynamite. Rahn scoured the mountaintop fortress of Montségur, blasting through ancient stone walls in a desperate search for divine power. But the deeper he went into the caves, the more he feared the men he served. When Rahn tried to resign from the SS, he was found frozen to death on a mountainside in Austria. The Reich ruled it a suicide. The Grail remained a ghost, and the man who got too close to the truth paid for it with his life. Number 5. Wewelsburg Castle. If you want to see the physical heart of the cult, you go to Westphalia. Wewelsburg was the dark Camelot of the SS. Heinrich Himmler didn't view his men as soldiers. He viewed them as an order of dark knights. He redesigned the castle to be the center of a new world. In the basement, he built the Obergruppenführersaal, the General's Hall. 12 pillars surrounded a massive, dark green mosaic of the Black Sun. This was a temple dedicated to death. Here, the 12 highest-ranking generals would gather in total silence to perform rituals over a central flame. Beneath the hall was a massive concrete crypt designed to hold their ashes, ensuring their spirits would haunt the castle for eternity. It proves that the architects of the Holocaust weren't just fighting a war. They were building a religion of ash and shadow. Number 4. The Hunt for the Aryan Gods. Heinrich Himmler was obsessed with a lost master race. He believed the Aryan elite were descendants of gods who survived the sinking of Atlantis. In 1938, he ordered a top-secret expedition to the freezing peaks of Tibet to find the survivors. This was Operation Tibet. A team of SS officers, biologists and occultists trekked through waist-deep snow to reach isolated mountain monasteries. They weren't looking for minerals or military bases. They were looking for ancient magic. They measured the skulls of local villagers with cold, metallic calipers. They searched for the genetic markers of a lost divinity. They scoured ancient Buddhist texts for mentions of Vril, a mythical energy source they believed could power flying machines. They spent months in the Himalayas trying to prove they were the rightful heirs to a supernatural throne. They found no magic, but they returned with thousands of artifacts that reinforced a deadly fantasy of racial destiny. Number 3. The Thule Society. How does a fringe political party take over a nation of millions? You have to look at the shadows of Munich in 1918. Before the Nazi Party existed, there was the Thule Society. It was a deeply racist, occult, secret society that studied runic magic and ancient astrology. They believed that by tapping into dark, ancestral energy, they could restore Germany to glory. They weren't just a book club. They bought newspapers to spread propaganda. They stockpiled weapons for a revolution. And they found a symbol to lead them. The swastika wasn't a modern logo. It was a stolen talisman of the ancient world, repurposed to signal a spiritual war. They recruited a young, angry veteran named Adolf Hitler to be their speaker. The foundation of the Third Reich wasn't built on political science. It was birthed in the candlelit rituals of a death cult. The monsters didn't come from the military. They came from the shadows of a secret society. Number 2. The Pendulum Institute. By 1942, the Battle of the Atlantic was a graveyard for German U-boats. Allied technology was winning, and the German Navy was drowning in desperation. They didn't turn to better radar. They turned to the Pendulum Institute. In a quiet office in Berlin, the Navy gathered a team of psychics, astrologers, and dowsers. They were locked in rooms with massive maritime maps and silver pendulums on thin chains. Their task was to hunt for British battleships by detecting supernatural vibrations through the paper. High-ranking commanders actually dispatched multi-million-dollar submarines to coordinates provided by these psychics. They were chasing shadows on a map, while real Allied destroyers were closing in. It was a doctrine of absolute surrender to the irrational. They bet the survival of their fleet on swinging crystals, proving that when a regime loses its grip on reality, it begins to hunt for magic in the dark. Number 1. The World Ice Theory. Imagine a superpower that officially declares war on the laws of physics. In the 1930s, the Nazi Party labeled the work of Albert Einstein as dangerous and un-German. In its place, they adopted a vision of the universe born from a vision. The World Ice Theory claimed the cosmos was created by a colossal collision between a ball of fire and a ball of ice. They believed the stars weren't suns, they were massive blocks of ice reflecting light. This wasn't a fringe belief. It was accepted as unquestionable truth by the highest levels of the government. They used this ice science to plan the most ambitious military operation in history. Because they believed ice governed the climate, they predicted a mild winter for the invasion of the Soviet Union. They ignored their own meteorologists. They marched their armies into the Russian frost without winter gear. 500,000 soldiers froze to death because their leaders preferred a myth to a thermometer. It was a military disaster written in the stars and paid for in blood. History shows us that when a nation trades logic for magic, the only thing it produces is destruction. The ruins of Wewelsburg stand as a warning. A regime that seeks power in the shadows will eventually be consumed by them. They built the most advanced rockets on Earth while praying to ancient gods in subterranean vaults. Their rise was fueled by a promise of supernatural glory, but their end was written in the cold reality of physics and fire. If you want to uncover the hidden layers of history's darkest conflicts, subscribe and hit the notification bell. Leave a comment below on which of these secrets you find most disturbing. Stay curious and keep questioning the history you think you know. We will see you in the next deep dive.